Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Monday, so we'll be vlogging about Willow. I just want to first say sorry about last week. I did not post a video. I had worked 6 straight days in a row, and this might not be a big deal to some people, but I typically only work 4 days a week, and they're usually not in a row. So working 6 days last week was a lot for me. On top of that, I take care of Willow during the daytime, and in the evening when she gets up the couple times while we're all sleeping, I get up with her too. So it was just a very long week for me, and I'm not complaining in any kind of form. The extra hours always help, the extra money always helps, but I was just tired. So I had Monday off, and then I worked Tuesday to Sunday, and then I had Monday off. So I took the day off from everything, like everything. So I didn't put up a vlog because I was very tired and just did not want to get up and put a face on and do this. But I am back today. Thank you for being patient with us. Thank you for all your constant love and support towards Willow. We really do appreciate it. I wanted to jump right into talking about the current issue Willow has. We're kind of pretty much caught up from the first 3 vlogs that I made, just kind of fast forwarding everything. So we'll go into Willow was having a lot of issues, and her numbers kept going up and down and up and down. And typically your ALT and your AST, you want those to be between 0 and 50. And your GGT, you would like it to be between 0 and 22. And her ALT and her AST kind of were fluctuating, I should say, between the low 80s to mid 200s, and her GGT would float around between the 200s and the 400s. Well, these continued to start rising, and her GGT was getting up like in the thousands, and they were obviously concerned. So they did some checking and some testing, and they believed that her bile duct was not getting out all of her bile, and this was causing a backup of bile into her liver, causing her numbers to fluctuate. So this one doctor they wanted to work on, he was actually out of town, so they used the next best person that they felt should work on Willow to see if she could get what they call it, I believe it's an ERCP, and it's a small piece of plastic that they go down into your throat, and they use a scope to make its way down to your liver and down to that bile duct. Then they drop that piece of plastic tubing into the bile duct, and that holds the bile duct open so that bile will flow through the liver. And this gets changed out every 6 weeks. And when they take it out, they actually like watch your bile duct, and if your bile duct falls back down, they drop another tube down. But if your bile duct stays open, then they don't do anything. They let you go and just check your liver numbers and see how you're doing. Well, when she tried to do that, Willow's bile duct was not a straight line. It was shaped like an S. So this was probably something that happened during the transplant. Her transplant was so long, and a lot of things started swelling up, and so many people had to come in and help with her transplant because, again, she was tiny, the liver was tiny, the liver came from Texas and we were in California at the time, so it was, you know, everybody did the best they could do, and I'm not blaming anybody, I just want to put that out there. It's just the way that things happen. But I'm thinking that everything was swollen and everything looked like it was in proper place, but once all that swelling went down and everything started to heal properly, there was extra you know, pieces, and those pieces had to go in somewhere. So instead of being straight, they made this S shape, and the bile duct was, or the bile was having trouble getting through that, and it was backing itself up and causing, you know, her liver to be mad. So she couldn't get the ERCP in because of this. Plus Willow is tiny, even at her age now. So it was difficult to even try to attempt that. So they put an outside drain in, and I'll put some photos up for you guys to see. I'm not ashamed of this stuff. go bad, you know, we make the best as we can do, and Willow, it's just normal for her, so it ain't nothing new for her. So a couple weeks go by. I think we only had it maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and the other doctor, he was back in town, and so he came and met us. We were in the IR. I forget what we were getting done. I think they wanted to take the drain out and see how she would do. So he had come down, and he was like, you know, I'm so sorry I wasn't here a couple weeks ago. I was out of town in a meeting, but I've been reading all about Willow, and I feel like, you know, I really should give this a try for Willow's sake so she doesn't have to have this external drain. But I want you to know that I only believe that I have like a 30% chance that I can make this happen. And if I am in there longer than 4 hours, we're just gonna call it a day, and that's gonna be it. I'm not gonna keep her under anesthesia for over 4 hours. So we thought, okay. So a couple hours go by, and the nurse calls and says, he's in the spot where he needs to be. He's gonna try to drop the tube. It's like, okay. Another hour went by, and she's like, he's almost done, but he wanted to let you know it is going a little longer than he planned, but you know, he feels confident and he wants to give it a try. We're like, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. So finally they call again, and it's the doctor. He's done. Willow is in the IR, but we can't go back yet. She's still doing a little recovery time before they let us in. And he shows us an x-ray, not the actual bile duct itself, but an x-ray of her liver anatomy to let us understand what was going on. And he said the first one he got dropped down, it was too big. And then the next one he dropped down, it was too small. So of course the third one was kind of too big, kind of too small, not just right, but it was gonna make do. So we went and spent the night at the hospital, and they checked everything, and everything was flowing good, and it was still in the right spot, and they were really confident that this was gonna work. They made us stay one more night, and everything was still looking good, and her liver numbers were dropping, which was amazing, so they let her go home. Well, a few days later, it's actually on Mother's Day, she started vomiting violently, screaming like she was in pain. It was just, a fever started spiking. I was so worried that she got pancreatitis, because that's what they told us to watch for, that I called 911. I was like, you need to send an EMT here right now. And the EMTs were so amazing. They were gonna drive us to Cook's, because that's in Fort Worth, and that's supposedly how far they can drive, but they made a couple phone calls and they got permission to drive us all the way to Dallas. So she did not have pancreatitis, bless, but she did have cholangitis, and it continued to happen. Like, no matter how many antibiotics they were giving her, she was having IV antibiotics 3 times a day at home, oral antibiotics, like everything you can think of. And her numbers would come down on the IV antibiotics, but as soon as she came off, her numbers would jump right back up, and she would get sick, and she'd end up with cholangitis again. So what the infectious disease doctor believed was that this little piece of plastic was getting bacteria built up behind it, because it still wasn't the right size. So it's constantly causing cholangitis, and we could not keep giving her the IV antibiotics, because this was like the best antibiotics you can think of on the market. Like, this was it, and she's not even 2 yet. So if she gets like immune to this, because you know, if you're on antibiotics for so long, your body just, you know, won't be cool with that one no more, and you gotta go find another one. Well, if we're using the best one of the best to make sure she's not sick, what happens when she's 9, 10, 11 and she's really sick from something because somebody coughed without covering their mouth and got her sick, and her immune system is low? You know, we can't be doing this to her. So they were like, let's take this out. Like, obviously it's not working. We can't have her sick. We can't have her on antibiotics this long. Let's take this out. So they took it out, and they watched her numbers to see what they would do. And at first they looked good, and then all of a sudden, poof, that GGT was up in the thousands again. So more admissions to the hospital, more visits to the IR, and that external drain got placed again. And then we ended up there 3 weeks in a row because she pulled it out twice. Oh, it's such a nightmare, but she's been doing really well with it. Her numbers are pretty good. 2 of them, the ALT and the AST, are close to being in the normal range. The GGT is still a bit high, but it's in triple digits and not in the thousands anymore, so we'll take that, and it's been coming down slowly but nicely. So it's obviously working. Dad and I have to flush the drain twice a day with some saline, which is super easy to do. And then we have to drain her bile bag because it's an external and an internal drain. So there's a piece that's going through her bile duct and letting bile go out, but anything that's like backing up, it goes out the external drain and into a bag that we kind of like have Ace bandaged around under her back so she can't play with it. And then we have to drain that at least twice a day as well. And we're getting about between 200 and 300 cc's of bile out a day. And like, if you've been pregnant and you've thrown up bile, you know like what it looks like and what it smells like, and it brings up bad pregnancy memories for me, and not a fan. But through all this, like, if you didn't see that big old bag hanging off of her, like, you would not even realize that she's going through all these crazy things that most adults probably couldn't even handle. I mean, I know I don't have all that stuff attached to me, and some days I'm just in awe of her amazingness and her virtue, you know, and it's crazy. You would never know anything was going wrong with her unless we had this conversation. So she's pretty amazing. You guys see it firsthand, you know. I share as much as I can with you guys. And I thank you for letting me share all of this. It means the world to me. Willow is, you know, changing lives. Who knows how many people she's actually said, you know what, because of that baby, because of her life being saved, because of how amazing she's been through all of this, I'm going to go put organ donor on my license. I'm going to go to registerme.org and register my name to be an organ donor to save lives. You can save up to 8 people when you leave this earth. Think about that. You will leave a legacy being an organ donor. And with that, I say good night. I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Until next time, guys. See you later.